The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar by SolutionXchg on excellence in imaging and archiving for SAP. This session is part of our Knowledge Injection series. We're happy you could attend and hope you will find the presentation interesting. My name is Jochen Hager and I will be your host throughout the session. Up front, a few administrative items. Our presentation today will take about 15 minutes, and during that time, all participants are on mute for the full duration of the webinar. Please post any questions or concerns through the questions function in your administration panel on the right side of your screen. If you cannot hear us or cannot see the presentation, please also alert us through the question panel. We will send out a transcript to those who are interested after the webinar. Please let us know via email to info@solutionxchg.com. That is info@solutionxchg.com. Let's dive right into the topic. Our featured speaker today will be my business partner, Kristen Gerling. Kristen, please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kristen Gerling, and I'm as well a managing partner at SolutionXchg. I have more than 11 years of consulting experience in the data archiving and SAP imaging environment, and would like to talk to you today about how easy it can be to move your SAP archive into the cloud. First, let me clarify what we are talking about when we're talking about imaging and archiving. Archiving, we always refer to the regular SAP data archiving that you're familiar with using transaction SARA. And imaging, we always consider any ArchiveLink enabled document processing scenarios in SAP where you're either scanning documents and attaching them to transactions or master data, or you're using generic services for objects, but you're still storing the documents via ArchiveLink in an ArchiveLink certified content repository. Should you be using SAP DMS or KPro or SAP Office and you're storing documents in the SAP database, but you wish to actually move those into your ArchiveLink certified content repository, please contact us later, and we can help you if you're interested in doing that. But let's start talking about moving the SAP archive into the cloud, and with its HTTP interface and ArchiveLink, SAP opened up the possibilities for doing this. And in every organization, the drivers can be different. Some organizations have a management philosophy that says that requires you to move as many applications as possible into the cloud, or in other organizations, cost can be a driver. But let's look at the different cloud options you have first. In theory, you can decide if you want to have your SAP system on premises or off premises. The same goes for your content server. You can make a decision as far as that is concerned if it should be on premises or off premises. And then you have a storage system that could be either a standard file system or a more sophisticated NAS or SAN system that has WARM compliance built into it, or an EMC Centera, NetApp SnapBlock filer, HDS system, whatever your flavor that is common in your organization. Important considerations when moving your SAP content server and maybe the storage or the SAP system into the cloud are speed, maybe international access requirements, and then of course software licensing considerations. You can have this run as a software as a service where your hosting partner owns the software, or you can run it and just use their platforms, but you still own the software. Still, while you could separate the content server and the underlying storage, Given the features of SAP ArchiveLink, the natural separation line is between SAP ERP systems and the content server. This leads us basically to three possible combinations. You keep everything on premises. You have a classical software installation. You own the license. Everything is installed in your environment, on your network, in your organization. Or you can keep SAP in your organization, but you can actually move the content server and the storage into the cloud and use it as a cloud service. Or the third option is to run everything as a cloud service, SAP as well as your content server and storage. Let's take a look at content repository in SAP to see how this is actually done. The SAP ArchiveLink protocol is highly suitable for cloud deployment due to its definition as an HTTP or HTTPS protocol with Internet standard HTTP GET and PUT calls that are URL-based for storing and retrieving documents. As you can see in the screenshot of the standard SAP ArchiveLink content repository, and this is a screenshot of the transaction OAC0, which you're probably all familiar with. The target archive is defined either as an IP address or as a DNS host name. That allows you to build these URLs to do your retrievals or your put calls for storing the documents. You can also set this up as an HTTPS script. And HTTPS encrypts the communication stream, and a security certificate exchange ensures the proper authentication of the communication partners. If you add a VPN channel, your archive becomes then an extension of your company network, even though it is actually located in a hosted environment. So it's all the security features that you need that you would need in order to move this to the cloud are already built in today's ArchiveLink interface. To further ensure data safety and to be compliant as far as rules and regulations like SOX or Basel, you could require worm-like storage devices, and those can be moved into the cloud as well. And these worm-like storage devices protect you against premature or accidental deletion. They really truly enforce retention criteria on the file, on the individual file level. On the next slide, we will talk about the user functionality a little bit. The user functionality in an archiving environment is fairly simplistic. Basically, you're just capturing documents. You're either, like I mentioned before, you're either scanning them or you have already electronic files that you're attaching to to SAP transaction data or master data, and you're displaying documents. Most of the users are not really concerned with the deletion or the retention management of archived documents. That is a standard administrative task, and the individual user only retrieves or stores additional documents in the content repository. The display of documents in SAP is connected to the transaction and to an SAP object, and this functionality actually is independent from where your SAP ArchiveLink-based document storage resides and can be achieved just as well from a cloud-based as an on-premise or self-managed solution. The document display is handled through a secured URL request, and that is passed up from SAP to the SAP GUI, and then subsequently triggers the display of an archived document in a front-end application. Now, this front-end application can be whatever your common viewer application is today, an Adobe Acrobat Reader, the SAP Document Viewer, the SAP ECL Viewer, or any other proprietary ECM viewer. The images are transmitted over the internet through that VPN tunnel, with secured and authenticated communication to the archive server. Now, data archiving is a little bit different because it requires the transmission of fairly large files. The data archiving files are mostly around 500 megabyte, and it would be not very good from a performance aspect if the entire 500 megabytes would get transmitted every time you do a retrieval on a data archiving record. So the interface, the ArchiveLink interface, already has it built in that when you're retrieving data archiving files through the same HTTPS communication, that you're only retrieving a section of the file, so that the retrieval of a single object is of a single object, not the whole file, and that is transferred back instantly, just like you're used to with your on-premise installation. I would like to now show you how you can make your life easier when moving to the cloud with your content server. Most systems in the market that you find for content servers will follow this architecture scheme where you have an SAP system with your SAP ArchiveLink HTTP interface, but you have a storage system that then has an interpreter for this ArchiveLink interface that talks to a storage module that then has a driver for whatever backend storage you're using, and a database module which then interprets the communication to the database. And there you have the flavors, your common flavors of Oracle, MS SQL, and DB2. Now, when you're moving to the cloud with your SAP content server solution, or with any other content server, open text or document, really going to the cloud is more effective the leaner the solution is. And if you're looking at the solution that we represent, the KGS content server for storage, you will find that this solution is lacking some of the pieces here in the middle. We do no longer have a database module, and we're not necessarily connected to a database. This is the way of how KGS can store documents without relying on a database. So we still have the ArchiveLink module that interprets the SAP ArchiveLink interface, but then we communicate straight to the driver and to the storage. And that storage can then be moved also into the cloud if it's a software model to realize warm-like storage. So making the solution leaner makes it much easier to scale and to implement this solution if you're going into the cloud. Should you decide to embark on this endeavor with us, we also provide a KGS migration for ArchiveLink tool that can migrate all the documents that you have currently stored in your old archiving solution to this new cloud solution. But let's look at the application stack one more time. Oops. Actually, above all of this, you would find your SAP system, but then you would have our KGS content server for storage, which is actually also BC ILM 3.0 certified, which then talks to a middleware that can turn any type of file system into a warm compliant storage. Warm compliant storage meaning that the files get a protection layer that you cannot physically delete or make changes to that file until it's received the retention date. The KGS content server for storage is a world-class SAP storage solution. KGS is subcontracted by SAP to perform all their SAP ArchiveLink certifications worldwide for other vendors that are trying to get their solutions certified. but it's also used by all the SAP consultants as a demo system just because of its leanness, and it can run on a laptop, whereas most of the other content server solutions are highly complex and require a multiple server architecture and so on. Eternity ICAS, our middleware that can talk to any type of file system to provide the warm compliance, does that for many different compliance rules, and is also endorsed by HP. So it's a solid product and SAP certified as well. Our components are available on premises as well as as a cloud solution, and you can choose however you want to install them, whatever is your preferred scenario. Now let me just give you a little bit of an overview of who we are as SolutionXchg. SolutionXchg is a company focused on bringing companies out of Europe that have established a successful market share in Europe already, but have not incorporated in the U.S. And we are representing these companies, and we're providing services around them. So the products I've talked to in this little knowledge injection series so far are KGS and Eternity, but we do represent other products like XFT, that is a business process solution mainly for HR, AP, and contracts management, so that you can process documents in combination with the postings in SAP or the personnel records, but you always have a file of what documents are associated to that transaction along with it directly out of SAP. And then we also represent the PBS data archiving modules you're probably familiar with, and products by TJC software that allow you to streamline your data archiving runs a little bit more through the archive session cockpit, or make you a little bit more independent when it comes to Dart from doing data extracts of online as well as offline data. We can implement these tools. We can provide the entire consulting suite of business process analysis, customizing, project management, and so on regarding these tools for you. This concludes our short knowledge injection for today. In case you should have any questions, please feel free to contact us. If you have some questions now, this is the time to post them in the questions panel on the right side of your screen.
Thank you, Kristen, and we'll wait a few moments if we have any questions. Yeah, it's really quite remarkable what you can do with the SAP ArchiveLink interface. It naturally lends itself to any cloud scenario, and with that, actually is quite a powerful tool, whether you want to use it for testing purposes, or you want to use cloud storage for production use. We have integrated and tested it out with Amazon cloud scenarios and other cloud scenarios. Kristen, it looks like we don't have any questions today. I think I thank you again very much, and thank you everybody on the phones and on the screens for attending. Please contact us if you want any more information at info@solutionexchg.com. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.